Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I am going to be showing you how I make an easy vegan Asian inspired stir fry. So hope you guys enjoy.
Okay, so for the stir fry, I'm going to be using a sugar snap pea stir fry that has snap peas, broccoli, green beans, yellow squash, red peppers, carrots, yellow peppers, and water chestnuts. I'm also using this deluxe stir fry, which is broccoli, Italian green beans, carrots, baby corn, water chestnuts, red peppers. And then I also like to add some pepper and onions because for whatever reason, none of these mixes have that. Sometimes I'll even add some cauliflower as well. Okay, so here is everything in the pan, and right now it kind of looks like it's a lot, but it's really not that much because it's frozen. If you do this with fresh vegetables, it's gonna be a little bit different. What I'm doing right now is basically thawing the vegetables, and then I'll end up straining the excess water. If you use fresh vegetables, you don't obviously have to do this step, and you will just start with your sesame oil in the pan, and you will just start browning your fresh vegetables. Okay, so my vegetables have pretty much thawed, and you can see there's a lot of extra water in there. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna strain as much of the excess water out from the pan as I can, so that way I have more of like a dry base that I can start adding my seasonings and my sauces to. Okay, so there is much less water now in the pan, and now I am ready to add the seasonings and the oils. So if you are starting with fresh vegetables, like I said, you're gonna put your sesame oil in the pan first. Make sure it is 100% pure sesame oil. Sometimes they like to sell sesame oils with other oils mixed in so that it's a little more cost effective, but then you're not really getting sesame oil. So because again, my vegetables are a little more wet, I'm gonna wait to put the sesame oil in, and I'm going to put some pepper in. And I like a lot of pepper, so obviously do as much pepper as you personally like. And I'm gonna turn the heat down just a little bit so I don't start burning vegetables. And then you could add actual cloves of garlic, but I have always just used garlic powder, and I just stick with it, but I go kind of heavy with the garlic powder. Okay, then the next part is I like to add a little bit of turmeric, and I just put this in everything, and I just go light with it. That way you don't get too much of the flavor, but you still get the health benefits of turmeric. And then the last, I guess, seasoning is just some crushed red pepper flakes to give it a little bit of heat. And again, if you don't really like things spicy, you can leave this out because later we're gonna add sriracha, and you are gonna want to add that. So you could definitely leave out the red pepper flakes and just go light on the sriracha. So that's basically the seasoning. As you'll notice, I don't use salt because some of the ingredients that we're gonna add are gonna be kind of pretty high in salt already. So at this point, it's all seasoned up, and we can add our sesame oil. So I go pretty light on this. I would say I probably do like a tablespoon. I mean, and you'll see it's pretty high in calories, so you don't want to do too much, and this is just for flavoring. I don't really use it to keep it from sticking because I used frozen vegetables. So that's about a tablespoon. I like to mix that around. And you'll instantly smell the sesame oil. So you can see it's now a little bit shinier in appearance. And then the next thing I add is tamari soy sauce. You could add liquid aminos or regular soy sauce. This is gluten-free. I'm not sure if the calories are any different. Let me see. Yeah, there's not really a difference in calories, but I will tell you this salt is a lot higher than like a low sodium soy sauce, so just kind of be careful. And I really don't add very much of this. I don't even do a tablespoon because, again, the salt content is so high. So then now the next things that I add are a sesame ginger dressing. Just make sure it doesn't have like honey or anything like that if you're trying to stick to vegan, because honey is not vegan. So I add the most of. I would say I probably add somewhere between like 1.5 to 2 tablespoons of that. And then lastly, I add a teriyaki sauce. And again, you want to check this to make sure that it doesn't have honey in it, because that would make it not vegan. As you can see, there's not very much actually in mine right now. So we're just gonna add whatever I have left. And that's gonna be how much is in there. I would say usually I probably do about 2 tablespoons. I don't think I'm getting that much today, but that's okay. I might add a little bit of water to it and just kind of shake it around. So I'm gonna let this just cook for a couple minutes. And actually at this point, I forgot, I cut up some fresh mushrooms and I'm gonna go ahead and add those now. I didn't want them to get all wet from the vegetables. So I'm gonna mix those in and they'll cook down in no time. All right, so I'm gonna leave that to just kind of warm through and heat up. Okay, so while my vegetables are cooking through, I am warming up a separate pan and I am going to be cooking these Just Egg egg substitute. It is a plant-based egg substitute. It's got mung bean, I don't know. It's just got some stuff in it. The texture is very similar to eggs and it just gives me a source of protein for the stir fry. About 5 grams of protein per serving. So once you get your pan nice and warm, make sure you spray it. This stuff does stick just like real eggs, and you want to make sure you shake it really well because it will settle on the bottom. So I'm gonna pour it in and you can see it kind of almost looks like a pancake batter. And this container is about 8 servings. I just did about 6 servings in here, which once you see how much it makes, that won't be that much egg because that's going to be split between about 4 servings. So I like to add pepper to it just like I would do with regular eggs. And then you just kind of let it sit up and then stir it around like scrambled eggs. You can see it's starting to cook on the bottom, so I'm just kind of stirring it around so that it doesn't stick. So you can see it is a little more stringy than normal eggs, but once you put it in the stir fry, you honestly are not going to be able to tell the difference at all. Starting to get pretty cooked, and you can put it over a little wet because it will continue to cook in the stir fry. So what I'm doing now is just kind of chopping the eggs up into smaller pieces so that it won't be like big globs of egg in the stir fry. Okay, so now we are going to add the egg over into the stir fry. And mix it around. And now you can see it looks like a legit stir fry. So you could stop here and you could just serve it with rice. and that would be perfectly fine, but I do it a little bit different. And at this point, I add some shirataki noodles. These are, I want to say, a root. Yep, a root from the cognac plant. So they have only 15 calories per serving and only 3 net carbs. So I like these in there. You could do 2 bags if you want. I think this is like 2.5 servings. It doesn't really say on there. And I don't think I'm really good at math right now. 8 ounces. So a cup, 2/3 a cup. Nah, it's like only a little more than a serving. So, but you do need to rinse this really good because it has a very earthy taste from the liquid that it's in. So I'm gonna go drain that really quick. Okay, so I rinsed and strained my noodles and now I'm adding them in. And you can see it's not a lot of noodles in comparison to the vegetables, but I don't really mind that. I mean, I prefer there to be more vegetables. I just threw a piece of egg at myself. You do want to kind of try and chop up the noodles a little bit because they are infinitely long. And I swear this pack is just like 3 noodles total and they're just that long. So you want to kind of try and chop them up in the pan so that you have more like bite-sized pieces and they don't just string on forever. So then I just kind of mix that around with the vegetables, and when I portion it out, I kind of do a better job of scooping the noodles with each serving. Like I said, they're really hard to spread around because they are so freaking long. So the very last thing that you're gonna wanna do, and this is really not optional, like I said, the red pepper flakes are optional if you don't like your food spicy, but you definitely want to finish it with some sriracha. How much you add is totally up to you. If you don't really like things spicy, you don't have to add a lot. I like my things pretty spicy, so I'm gonna add a lot. So there you have it, and that took like 20 minutes. And it'll take even less time if you actually have fresh vegetables, unlike me. Bon appetit. So some optional add-ins are you could do some broken up pieces of cashew, and it just gives you like a little bit of crunch to your stir fry. I didn't add them this time because I don't really have very many of them, but I do really enjoy this if you're not too worried about like carbohydrates and you want to add some more protein. So that's a good option as well that you can add